Tonight we are going to talk about a very special day. It's such a special day that even for people that are far away from any kind of tradition, they know that in this day they should come to the shul, they should come to the synagogue. And even if they do not know about the whole day, they know that the beginning of this holiday, of this day, there's a special prayer. It's in Aramaic, so for sure they have no clue what's in the prayer, but they're supposed to come. They need to come. And of course that we are talking about Yom Kippur, or as it says in the Torah, Yom HaKippurim. And such a divine, such an important holy day, the question that first of all we should ask ourselves, what is literally Yom Kippur? What does it mean? So, with your permission, I would like to start with reading from the Torah, right? If about Rosh Hashanah, there is almost nothing in the Torah itself, as we saw in our previous lessons. About Yom Kippur, we have quite a bit. And today I would like to read with you from Leviticus, from Vayikra, which is the third book of Moses, from 23rd chapter. It's in the portion of Emor, 26th line to Pasuk. וידבר אדוני אל משה לאמור, אך בעשור לחודש השביעי הזה יום הכיפורים הוא מקרא קודש יהיה לכם, ועיניתם את נפשותיכם, ויקרבתם משה לאדוני. וכל מלאכה לא תעשו בעצם היום הזה, כי יום הכיפורים הוא לכפר עליכם לפני אדוני אלוהיכם, כי כל הנפש אשר לא תעונה בעצם היום הזה ונכרתה מעמיה, וכל הנפש אשר תעשה כל מלאכה בעצם היום הזה, והעבדתי את הנפש ההיא מקרב עמה. כל מלאכה לא תעשו, חוקת עולם לדורותיכם בכל מושבותיכם. שבת שבתון הוא לכם, ועיניתם את נפשותיכם, בתשעה לחודש בערב, מערב עד ערב, תשבתו שבתכם. I know it's all clear from what we read, so we're going to continue our study, our lesson. But let's try to read together the translation with a lot of caution, as we saw. So here we go. Okay, let's try now to read the translation. I will do it very carefully, with a lot of caution, because we already saw in the previous week how tricky it can be, right? But I'm still using the great source of Sefaria. So Hashem, God Almighty, spoke to Moshe and said, mark the 10th day of this 7th month. Which month is it? The 7th month? What's the name of the month? Tishrei, right? The month that we going to enter just in a few days. Rosh Hashanah, it's like behind the corner, right? In the day of atonement. So literally the word or the name Yom Kippur or Yom Kippurim is day of atonement. It shall be sacred occasion for you. You shall practice self-denial, and you shall bring an offering by fire, which is ishek. It's the offering korban that is burned completely on the altar before of God. Ve'initem et nafshotechem. So in our translation here it says to denial, right? To where it is. Here we have, you shall practice self-denial. In Hebrew, v'initem et nafshotechem, it means that we need to it will be to torture your soul, not to practice self-denial. And when the Karaim, those who took the Torah that only is written without the Torah Sheba'al Peh, without the wisdom of our sages, so they take it literally. So in Yom Kippur, especially in Israel, when it's really hot, usually during Yom Kippur. Besides the fact that they will fast and so on, they will take big stones and will climb to the mountain because you need to torture yourself. Thank God we have our sages and we do not need to do that. But for example, it's one of the examples of translation. So here the translation is taking us to the right understanding of it, but literally the Torah says something else. And then the Torah continues, do not work during this time, right? So this is already my translation. So it's time that you should not work, as well as Shabbat, because Yom Kippur it's Shabbat Shabbaton. It's twice Shabbat. In order for God to accept your atonement. And the soul that will not practice it will be divided or ripped from its own people. And it's interesting because it says hanefesh. It says the soul that will practice or that will not practice. It doesn't say the man or the woman, the soul. So we sing here something spiritual. And hopefully by the end of tonight's class, we'll be able to understand why it's talking about the soul and not about the body. And you started from the eve of this day, so the 9th day of Tishrei evening, and the whole day of the 10th. Okay, so this is what we see here in the book of Vayikra in Leviticus, and there are other places where we can read about Yom Kippur, but we will not do it today. Yom Kippur, so we say it's Day of Atonement, we say it's Day of forgiveness. So many people come and ask for forgiveness. But I have a question for you. Why do I need to forgive? If somebody did me something, if someone did me wronged me. Or here, I'm sitting here, somebody walked by, and by coincidence, stepped on my foot. Oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry. I don't want to excuse you. I hurt. I'm in hurt. My leg hurts, right? Take the pain away. I will forgive you. Make sense? Why do I need to forgive you if you did me wrong? It doesn't matter. You did by coincidence. You're a great guy. You are a great lady. I don't care. If I'm in pain now, and you're responsible for this pain, why should I forgive you? Overmore, by the Torah, if a person comes from clean heart and asking for your forgiveness, and you don't want to forgive, but he comes to you again and again and again, if he asks 3 times truly for forgiveness and willing to do the deed for you to forgive him, and you didn't forgive, it's on you. It's not on him anymore. Hold on. So Yom Kippur, it's a game, or is it a truly remarkable and holy day? What's going on here? And we need to understand that tonight we're going to ask a lot of questions. We're going to answer some of those questions, but not all those questions, because those questions should awake you for an action. Go, study, ask the questions, open the books, open different lessons. We should come for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, of course, with awe. It's not a regular day. I tell you, personally, I don't feel ready at all. Not for Rosh Hashanah, and definitely not for Yom Kippur. And I was talking about it this morning with my wife, and she said, every year you say the same. But it's true. What can I do? This is what I feel. My question, as people think, my question to you is, we study that, before we're going to answer about the questions and we're going to add more questions to you, we know that our holidays are connected with historical moments. So my question to you, what happened on the 10th of Tishrei? This is also why we know that Yom Kippur is a Yom Kippur. This is my question to you.
God forgave the people for making the golden calf and sent Moshe down with the 2 luchot.
That's correct. So as Miriam said, it's even more than God forgiving us for the mistake of the golden calf and receiving the Torah. We're actually receiving the Torah on Yom Kippur. The second tablets that we got in Yom Kippur, it's literally getting Torah again, second time. But it's more than just a second chance for us, because at that moment we realize that even if we did a mistake, we fell. We brutally fell with the golden calf. It didn't change or alter our DNA. Therefore, I can still change, I can still recover, I can fix, I can do a tikkun, correction, I can correct myself. Not as other religions, we are not here sinners, no. Because the soul is pure, and we're here in order to correct. So when we're receiving the Torah on Yom Kippur, basically we have a connection with God without any buffer, without what would be the right word? Without a representative or without a middleman between us and God. This is Yom Kippur. Another thing that happens in Yom Kippur, but it's also the Torah is when the Torah is talking about Yom Kippur, we have the story of the scapegoat. Did you know about the scapegoat? There's a term in English, right? Scapegoat. It's literally from the Torah. It's literally from Yom Kippur.
The story of the Cana of the binding?
No. So the Torah is saying this. In the temple or in the Mishkan, it doesn't matter, yeah, for our point of view. In Yom Kippur, in front of the high priest, they would bring two male goats, young. In Hebrew, they call them not taish, but sa'ir mishtaleach. Sa'ir, why the name? It's connected to the level of Malchut, because Yom Kippur is the 10th day, which is the 10th Sphira, which is also Malchut. For those who did study Kabbalah a little bit or took my course. And there is a lottery. One of those goats will go to the temple to become korban in front of God, before God. The other one of the Kohanim will take him about 12 kilometers into the desert. He will have a few stops there to rest, to eat and to drink, until he will get to a specific place, a mountain, and he throw this goat from the mountain till the goat, I'm sorry for the graphics, and the idea of this goat will become a scapegoat for the nation of Israel. Only when the temple is standing, and so on. And overall, the work of the Kohanim, the priest and the high priest, is insanely intense and long. And the high priest did so much kilometers. It's like running a marathon. It's insane. The amount of running here and there from the mountain to the spring to do mikveh and then going back and this clothes and that clothes and running like a sportsman. And now that we do not have the temple, so actually all the responsibility that was mainly on the priests and the high priest got back to us. So actually, Yom Kippur these days is more intense for us because we do not have those messengers to do the work for us. So I have a few questions. First of all, from what we heard so far, wouldn't it be more logical? Would it make more sense if actually Yom Kippur will happen before Rosh Hashanah? Because if Yom Kippur it's a day of atonement, it's a day of forgiveness, and Rosh Hashanah it's a day of judgment, correct? Shouldn't we ask forgiveness before the judgment and not after? I know the story better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission, but it's not the case here. So why Yom Kippur is after Rosh Hashanah, not before? That's the one question. Again, I'm not promising that I'm going to answer it, but it's important question. It's not my questions. It's questions of our sages. Another question. Yom Kippur is a holiday, but we have 5 restrictions. The Torah says, "Ve'initem et nafshotechem." We need to torture our soul, right? And in the Talmud, in Yoma, the 8th chapter, and Tani, the 1st chapter, it says that there are 5 ways to torture our soul. Yeah, we're going to talk about it. We do not eat and we do not drink and so on. In a holiday? Hold on. The Torah usually talking about holiday. The holiday needs to be a happy day, and part of the happiness of the holiday is to have meat on the table and drink wine. So if Yom Kippur is a holiday, how come we do not practice it? Moreover, in Yom Kippur you should dress with your holiday dress, with your Shabbos dress. There's also a tradition of being all white. It's a little bit different. Maybe we'll talk about it also today. So it's another question. Moreover, why so many prayers? How many prayers we have on a daily basis during the week? Here, today is a Wednesday. How many prayers you have during Wednesday?
3.
3, right? Starting with Arvit of yesterday, right? So yesterday's Arvit, it's today's prayer, the first one, because nightfall starting the next day. Today morning we had Shacharit, the morning prayer, and we had Mincha, the daily prayer, right? Tonight after the class, after the sun will set, and it will be night, we'll do Arvit of the next day. Great. On Shabbat, how many prayers we have?
4.
4 prayers. We have Arvit before on Friday evening, right? Kabbalat Shabbat, it's not a prayer. Prayer, it's Amidah, by the way. Saturday morning, Shabbat morning, we have Shacharit with Torah. After that, we have 3rd prayers, Musaf, and then Mincha. And so are usually holidays. Sukkot, Pesach, Shavuot. So is also Rosh Chodesh. The new moon is also 4 prayers. How many prayers we have in Yom Kippur? 5 prayers. We have additional between after Mincha of the day of Yom Kippur. We have additional prayer that we call Neilah. Why so many prayers? Another question I have for you. I'm sorry, a lot of questions today. The sages teach us that as it's so important to fast, to practice fast during Yom Kippur. By the way, if you have medical issues, you should talk with the doctor. Better to talk with the doctor that understands and appreciates the Torah. And we have enough religious Jews that are doctors to talk with, but with a lot of responsibility. You can go talk first with the rabbi. Maybe sometimes the rabbi can find a solution, but many times the rabbi will tell you to talk with the doctor, because we're not allowed to risk our life. There are many rabbis that actually died on Yom Kippur because they just didn't take their medicine. So it's a problematic thing. It's not something we're allowed to do. Need to be very careful about it. But the 9th day of Tishrei, the sages teach us that the day before Yom Kippur, the 9th day of Tishrei, it's actually a mitzvah to eat twice the amount that usually you eat. So that if you eat additional meal on the 9th of Tishrei, Eve of Yom Kippur, it considered to you as you holding a fast for 2 days. How come? Isn't it strange? Another thing that we practice is what we call kaparot. Did you hear about it? No? So kaparot, it's basically, as we do not have the scapegoat anymore, what should we do? So it's a very old tradition that we take a rooster or a chicken, male and female, male, female, right? We know that we have only male and female. We don't have other genders. We have only two. So for the male, it's a rooster. For the female, it's a chicken. And with a special prayer, we condemn, so to say, that the chicken and the rooster will go to death, and the meat usually we give to those who do not have any food before Yom Kippur, as it's tzedakah also, right? Or you can take and eat it yourself, but usually we practice to leave it for tzedakah. And then I say, and I will be registered in the book of life. And if the scapegoat, which connected with the 10th day, which is Malchut, the rooster or the chicken connected with Yesod, which is the 9th Sphira, this is why we should do it on the 9th day. But it's true that the Ari HaKadosh is writing that this is the right thing to do, and you should take the rooster or the chicken will be white on the just before dawn of the 9th day of Tishrei, and
На другой раунд? Может, на другой раунд пойти?
And we do the kaparot, but the Ari said it's good. Ramban Nachmanidis is saying it's bad because there are too many components of idolatry, of idol worshipping, of avodah zarah. So and Rabbi Yosef Karo in the Shulchan Aruch is saying there are big secrets, and there is beauty in this action, but it would be also a good idea to cancel it. So depends who you go with. And you see, usually the Hasidim, they are doing the chicken, and those who study Kabbalah, they will do it more, even though that the first sage of Kabbalah would be Ramban, that was against it, but the other Kabbalists were for it. So what do? Usually, we take money, and we do kaparot with money, and then the money we give as a donation. And somebody asked me how much to take. How much you value your life? Okay. Rosh Hashanah is the beginning. We spoke about it. Rosh Hashanah, it's the head of the year, is the birth or the day of creation of Adam and Eve. Beautiful. But more correctly, we can say that it's not the beginning of our life, but it's the moment of conceiving. Conceiving? So the beginning is very, very important. But after that, the work is even more important. It's like today doctors can operate on a fetus in the womb of the mother. It's insane to think about it, but this is how technology advanced our time, but this is basically what we do during the days of between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. So as important Rosh Hashanah is, if I messed up something in Rosh Hashanah, I didn't do overall, or I did a mistake, I still can fix, I still can add, change, influence through the days of atonement, the day of Teshuva, between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and especially inside Yom Kippur. Therefore, Rosh Hashanah, the most important. And the days after, between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, are even more important. And Yom Kippur, even more important, but only when we understand that it's a package deal. It's not, this I will do, this I will not do. It's a package deal. I cannot be pregnant at all, but my wife cannot be pregnant today, yes, and tomorrow not, or to be half pregnant. It doesn't work this way. You start and you go all the way. Any process that we start, even if I did 99.9% perfectly, if I didn't make it all the way, chances are that it all will disappear. Anything that I do, I need to do the whole 100% because I did 90%, I did 99%. Wow, beautiful work. But I didn't finish, I didn't accomplish the 0.5%. Chances are that the disease will come back, the falling will come, the building will be destroyed, and will fall apart. In Yom Kippur, Satan, it's not Satan, it's not a devil with horns and a fork, how you call this fork? This it's a fork, but it's the name. There's a name to this fork, no? How you say it in English? It's not Satan. Satan in actually it's an Aramaic word for arrival. That's it. So Satan, which what we would say we'll call our Yetzer Hara, our evil inclination, and angel of death, and then all this the representative that manifest the other side in a life. So the word Hasatan, the Satan, in Hebrew, the numerical value is 364. To show us that 364 days a year, we are available for him. One day we are not. During Yom Kippur, we are not available for him. This is why it's so easier to elevate ourselves spiritually. This is why we are pushing back the joy of the physical world and trying to become more like an angels, because we actually can do it, especially in Yom Kippur. In Yom Kippur, we are in a very special condition, because overall in this world we came to correct ourselves, right? Starting from the sin of Adam and Eve, and to correct this world, what we call tikkun to this world. How we do that? During the week we work. It doesn't matter what we do. We can be doctors, we can be drivers, we can be chefs. It doesn't matter what I do. I'm a student, I'm a caregiver. It doesn't matter what I do. As long as it's the weekdays, inside this work there is blessings of God, there is light. There are sparks of light that I'm elevating, if to use Kabbalistic terms, that I'm elevating, and therefore anything that I transform on the physical level, I also transform on the spiritual level. So there's a blessing in the money and in everything that I do, especially if I'm conscious for it. On Shabbat, as this physical world elevates by himself to Binah, and those sparks elevate themselves. If I will go and will do the same job, the same work, the work will not have a blessing, and the money that I earn there will not have a blessing. Why? Because the sparks elevate themselves anyhow. And in that moment, if I work on Shabbat, doing a physical transformation in Shabbat, I'm doing something that's completely physical without any spirituality. I will just lose. The only transformation we are doing during Shabbat is spiritual. There is, because doctor, if it's only to save life, you can do, because it's not work. Okay? If it's something that it's extra, I'm sorry, it's something extreme, of course you take care of the people. But all the rest, no. Because in order to save life, you're allowed to break Shabbat. Otherwise, you should not do that. There's no blessing there. Now, as we're elevating to Binah, to the highest realm, we can get the blessing from Binah, from outside of Binah, or from inside of Binah. So outside of Binah, part of how we're getting those blessings is through eating and drinking and so on. Therefore, in Shabbat, also other holidays, we eat and drink. We need to have a Shabbos meal. We need to have, how many meals we have in Shabbat, by the way? 3 meals. In holidays, how many meals we have every day? 2. Shabbat, it's extra. So, we need to eat and drink, and by eating and drinking, we also get the spiritual aspect of it. But in Yom Kippur, we're entering into Binah. We're receiving from much higher source, and therefore, if we will start to eat and drink in Yom Kippur, unless again, you need it for your health, it means that you go down and getting your fulfillment from a much lower source. The fact that we are holding fast during Yom Kippur, it's a plus, it's not a minus. We don't do it because it's a day of atonement, I mean, in the sense of it's time to cry and be sad. No, the opposite. We should be the happiest of all. We know that Yom Kippur is one of the happiest day of the year, if not the happiest of all. Day of finding your second half. and atonement and mercy and forgiveness and love, and we spoke about it. So in that sense, it's like I got back to the womb of my mother. Suddenly, in the womb of our mothers, we didn't eat and drink like we do it now. We got everything through umbilical cord, right? In a different level. This is what we do in Yom Kippur. So suddenly, if in Yom Kippur you go to eat and drink, what do? Oh, I don't want to be in the womb. I don't want to be protected and have it all. I want to take something less. Oh, you want to pay me 10,000 a day? No, I will take only 10. This is basically what a person do if he choose not to practice Yom Kippur, which is it's a big loss, right? Especially when we say that Yom Kippur, it's the day of receiving the Torah. It's a mercy. We immerse ourselves in mercy. We cleanse ourselves in mercy. Yeah. We have 5 restrictions during Yom Kippur. The first one is
No relations.
not eating and not drinking. We always need to know that fast, a spiritual fast, is always a fast that includes not eating and not drinking. Always.
They started in the evening before?
Yes. Yom Kippur, yes. So
8 o'clock in the evening?
we're starting it at sunset, a little bit before sunset, but starting from sunset, that's it, already holiday.
This is the other day.
Yes, the eve of Yom Kippur. So we're not eating and we're not drinking. Achila v'shtiya is the first one. The second one is we're not washing. So you should wash before. Oh, hold on, but I have a small child. I just changed his diapers and I got a little bit dirty. What do? I wash it with a soap. Better to use a soap without a good smell, with regular soap, but you can do that if you are dirty. Otherwise, just to get, because it's fun or because it's refreshing, no. Moreover, we do netilat yadayim, we wash our hands in the morning or after going to the bathroom. We wash only the fingers. Till the beginning of the fingers, we do not wash our palms. Okay? Unless I got to some dirt and I need to wash it. Because again, it's what gives to the body, which it's to receive the blessings from a much lower source than internal part of Bina. The third one is, we do not use any kind of creams. Not sun lotion, not any lotion. So if you have a dry skin, take care of it before Yom Kippur. Again, if it's something medical, talk with your doctor. Can you skip it? If you're not allowed to skip, use the minimum and so on. But overall, we should skip as much as we can. It's not Israel, so I don't think you need a sunscreen during Yom Kippur. And 24 hours without your lotion, I think you will be able to manage it. Okay, the fourth one is intimate relations. We don't do that on Yom Kippur. Also because from the Torah point of view, even though it's about bringing new life to this world, but also it's about receiving a big joy for the man and the woman. This is how it should be by the Torah. And during the Yom Kippur, we're not doing anything for the physical world, just the spiritual one. We do not do that. And the last one is shoes. We do not wear leather shoes. Historically, all the shoes were from leather. So in that sense, it's like grounding yourself, right? It's such a big energy, like a lot of electricity. You need grounding, right? But also through Kabbalah, there is the idea of leather in our legs, and we're going to Bina and so on. Make long story short, we should go to begin with from the beginning of the holiday. So you dress up for the holiday, but your shoes will not be so respectful. You should have it as most simple and from not from leather shoes, the better, because today a lot of the sport shoes are very so comfortable and not from leather. But then you have a question: is it okay or not? Some rabbis say yes, some rabbis say no. We'll not go into it, but we should have a very simple shoes as much as possible. For example, myself, the most simple one I cannot. I have trauma from the army with my knees and my legs and so on. If over a few hours not with a specific shoes, the rest of the day I'll need to lie down with the legs up. So, but the simplest as possible, not from leather. There's a lot about it. In that sense, it says that we people, there are three things that with them we are like God and the angels, and three things that we are like the beast and the animal. So the three that we are more like God, in the image of God, and so on, it's that we're standing straight on both legs, regel yeshara. We are conscious to God and so on, and we can talk. But we also like beasts because we need to sleep, we need to go to the toilet, and we need to eat, right? And then go to the So in Yom Kippur, as much as possible, we want to be like the angels. We want to be closer to God, so we do not eat, and we don't do intimate relations, so on. So as much as possible to be closer to God. So what else can we do in Yom Kippur? There is the tradition of white clothes. Of course, it's Shabbos clothes, it's respectful clothes. But white, as we know that one of 2 days where we had the idea of potential grooms and brides to meet wearing white and so on, as into Be'av and Yom Kippur, and also white's color of mercy and forgiveness and so on. So it's a nice tradition. For those of us that we didn't do Atarat Nedarim before Rosh Hashanah, we can still do it before Yom Kippur, canceling our vows from the previous year. If you didn't do it before Rosh Hashanah, at least before Yom Kippur, because in Yom Kippur in the evening, we're going to have Kol Nidrei, which it's already a different type of canceling the vows. I'm not sure that we get into it tonight, but maybe next time we will talk about it. Men, usually, unless you're a Hasidic Jew, now that we don't have the temple, we barely go to a mikveh. Mikveh, it's usually something more for women, but there's tradition that before Rosh Hashanah and also before Yom Kippur, we go to cleanse ourselves with water as well. In that sense, even if you spend enough time under your shower, you actually can have like a mikveh, that for a man will be enough. Of course, for a woman who needs mikveh, it's not enough. And tzedakah, to practice as before any holiday, and especially before Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, to practice charity with our money, with our time, and so on. A very, very important practice in those times. And eventually, also, as we said in our lesson about Rosh Hashanah, there's nothing but God. To continue with this line, because you will come to Yom Kippur and fast, and then you are cold, you are hot, somebody took your place, you don't have the book, they didn't smile, they say something that they didn't like. If we will fall into that, we will miss out. So to continue with the thought of that we gained during Rosh Hashanah. Okay, I prepared for tonight also to talk about the prayers of Yom Kippur, but time it's already late, and there is enough lessons and books and prayer books that you can take and open, but in a very condensed way. I will go now through what is waiting for us, but on a very shallow level, so you should take the time and get deeper to it. So in a nutshell, during the prayers of Yom Kippur, we have 10 times vidui. Vidui is confession, but not like in the movies. We're not getting into a box and talking to a person that we never see. Confession in Judaism, we confess to ourselves and to God, and we do it plural, because even if we didn't do that, we have responsibility for our nation, And therefore, we take the responsibility for it. And during this time, every line, usually in the prayer books, you see bold letters. You give you beat your heart, not strong, right? Because even in the end of the whole day here, it hurts, and you have blood. How you call it? And you have bruises. You did something wrong. The idea here, it's slowly, but to make sure that we are waking ourselves for mercy and for change. So we do it, we have 10 times. The first time, it's before Yom Kippur. It's already in Mincha, in the eve of Yom Kippur. And 9 more inside Yom Kippur. All of them always in the Amidah, in the individual prayer of Amidah. So after the Mincha on the eve of Yom Kippur, we have Sudam of Seket, we have a special meal. It should be a good meal before we enter the fast. Remember, we need to eat double the amount that you usually eat on the eve of Yom Kippur. My suggestion, avoid in the 24 hours or even more before Yom Kippur, avoid sugar, salt, caffeine, and alcohol, because they all will make you thirsty during the holiday, right? And drink not 5 minutes before Yom Kippur, but 48 hours to 24 hours before, already to start to drink more than usual, then to be easier. Because if you drink right away, it will not help you. You will feel thirsty during the holiday. As we said, we have 5 prayers. Each prayer is actually a meal. It's actually a fast, and not fasting, right? So it's a spiritual meal. And therefore, if somebody asks, which prayer is the most important? They're all important. As we said, white clothes, men bring their own talit. Also at night, we actually will use the talit. Therefore, we should say the blessing before nightfall, not to get into the machloket of our sages. And then we have Kol Nidrei. About Kol Nidrei, we can have a whole lesson. There are a lot of secrets there. We don't have the time now, but we need to gather all of us together, as the Ben Ish Chai say, Tene, right? Taf Nashim Anashim. And then the first prayer or the first meal of Yom Kippur, which is Arvit. During Arvit, and also in the next day in Shacharit, when we do Shema Israel, right, as we do every prayer, usually after Shema Israel, we have a line that we say silently. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto, we say silently. In Yom Kippur, we say it also out loud. During Yom Kippur, it's an exception. And as we said, every Amidah, we have the confession, which is very important. And during the holiday, you will see that we're going to open the ark a lot of times. It's also an instrument for us, for our prayers to get higher and higher. And so when the ark is open, better to stand. But if it's hard for you, it's fine to sit. It's no problem. When you really should put an effort, it's if the Torah is out. When the Torah is in move, you should not sit, unless you really cannot stand. If you cannot stand, it's not too hard. When the ark is open, better stand. But if it's hard for you, it's fine if you will sit, as long as the Torah is not in the move. Just to pay attention to it. Washing our hands, we said. Also, so the morning prayer Shacharit is the second meal of Yom Kippur, which also is the prayer itself, and then the Torah reading, which is very important. And we have Izkor, we have the prayer for the souls who left the world during Yom Kippur. So it's an important place. Then we're moving to the third prayer, which is Musaf. And Musaf is a little bit long because we're reading all the work of the high priest, of the Kohen Gadol. We don't have the temple, so at least we read about it. It's an important place. And basically it's one of the highlights of Yom Kippur, especially the Kedusha of the Musaf, but it is important. And we have something very special. Usually when we pray, how we bow, a little bit our head or a little bit the body in Yom Kippur, and usually we practice, the women do not do that, the men do that. We bow with all our body. So it's not like on the Mount Temple that you need to bow, hands open, legs open, and the head on the floor, and all of you flat. We don't do that, but we go to our knees. The head we can put on the left hand, on the left hand on the floor, to get rid of all the all the negativity, to cancel myself before of God, and then stand up to rise all the sparks, to rise myself and all the worlds upper, right? So it's something that we do in Yom Kippur, in the prayers, in the morning prayers, in Shacharit and in Musaf. Sorry. Usually then we have a break, we have a small break, and we have the fourth prayer, or the fourth meal of Yom Kippur, which is Mincha. And Mincha is always important because the prayer of Mincha is in charge of sweetening judgments every day, and Shabbat, especially Shabbat and Yom Kippur. And during this Mincha, we actually have a Torah reading, and in the end of it, in the Haftarah, we read the book of Jonah, of Yonah the prophet. Yeah, in Hebrew it's Yonah. By the way, do you know how old was he when he was running away from God? He was 12 years old. He was a boy. He was a boy. So we read it, and there's a lot of secrets. They say that the reading is connected to sustenance and abundance and much more. Usually in synagogues, you will see a whole fight. How much money, who will give in order to get the aliyah or the opening the ark. And in some synagogues I saw, people will give after the holiday, will bring a whole chemodan of like $500,000 in cash, putting it, like the crazy stories about it. But it's just to show how important it is, this part. And then the fifth prayer, the prayer of Neilah. Like Indiana Jones, when the door is almost closing and he's slipping through, this is the Neilah. This is the highlight of it all. It's important, in important time as the gates are closing. It's the happiest and most powerful part of Yom Kippur, especially if you worked through it. And then after that, the moment the holiday ends, we take out the shofar. We don't do it before because shofar is muktzeh during Yom Kippur, and we blow the shofar. There are different communities do it in a different way. You will see. And after that, dear ladies, maybe you can go to drink some water, tea and tea. The men will continue with Arvit, which is the prayer of the next day, and Birkat Levana, blessing of the moon, if we can see the moon. And after that, we'll go to Havdalah and really drink and eat right after. So do not forget, Yom Kippur is the most happy day of the year. Mercy and love. Finally you're free from your evil inclination. Don't take it with you to the synagogue. Oh, but they took my place. No. Just mercy and love and caring to each other. This is the only focus you should have on Yom Kippur. Oh, but they didn't give me to pray. It doesn't matter. More important, the unity between us than say the word. You get me? Yeah. And not to forget, it doesn't matter how far I fell. Doesn't matter. My DNA wasn't corrupted. I can go and fix and be me again. This is what Yom Kippur taught us as we got the second tablets. So let's not forget it. And good luck for all of us.